Hi, I'm Matt Ellis. I'm the Vice President of Autonomic Computing at IBM.
And tell us about your work with the IT services curriculum and how you've managed to build it worldwide.
So we've taken this notion of IT services or IT service management. How do you manage IT services? How do you manage an IT infrastructure? And dealing with some of the challenges that we've seen with undergraduates, graduate students and master's students, graduating, understanding IT but not necessarily understanding the challenges of managing those environments. Working with universities worldwide, we've got around about 190 universities who have taken content that IBM's provided them and put that into their degree courses or provided whole degree programs based around IT service management.
And what kind of skills and jobs are we looking at preparing students for ultimately?
Yeah, so if you look at the kind of roles that people often get into in information technology, you'll get software developers, you'll get hardware developers, but there's a major piece of the industry that's dealing with actually managing and delivering IT, delivering information technology, either installing hardware, installing software, and then managing it through its life cycle. So it's really focused on educating undergraduates and master's students who are going to become the major decision makers in that services piece, in the services life cycle. So if you think about the typical systems that get installed, they might exist in the customer's environment for 10, 20, 30 years. So having people who can manage and know how to manage those complex IT systems becomes really important. So it's that skill base that we've been focused on.
Now, before you started this program, how would schools acquire these skills? How would they pass these skills on to students? It must have been a challenge, no?
Well, yeah, it was a challenge, and one of the things we found is that individual universities had individual programs that were dealing with this, but it wasn't really a standardized approach across the industry. If you look at what the industry has been trying to do, there's been IBM and others have been trying to define a set of standard approaches to managing this. We've seen an adoption of the Information Technology Infrastructure Library, ITIL, as a standard set of best practices. And if universities picked that up, it was almost by accident. By taking this approach with the IT services curriculum, we've been educating the educators, if you like, about what's best practice in the industry, what we want to see happening in the industry, and what we want to see from their undergraduates and master's students.
Is there anything else you'd like to add about the program?
Well, the program has grown recently. That, as I said, we've got this 190 universities worldwide. We've been very successful in growth economies. I'd like us to do more of this here in the US in particular. But one of the other areas that we've seen interest in recently has been the whole notion of dynamic infrastructures, taking this beyond managing standard IT infrastructures, the data center, actually out to managing network sensors, this notion of a smarter planet that IBM's been driving. Really, how do you manage that kind of networked world? And so we've recently been expanding the program to include courses around dynamic infrastructure and how people should manage that. So we'll be looking over the next couple of years about how we grow that out even further.
Great.
Okay.
That was perfect.
Thank you.